If you click this, it's not random. This video found you because something inside you already knows. You're done losing. You might not see it yet, but the energy that once broke you down is about to rebuild you in ways that make sense only in hindsight. That voice telling you it's almost your time, it's right. Stay here, because before this message ends, you'll understand exactly why everything paused before your comeback began. When losing isn't losing, the setup of your comeback. What if the moments you call losses weren't setbacks at all, but quiet adjustments that life had to make before it could restart your momentum? What if those breaks you cursed were actually the system recalibrating in your favor? It's easy to forget that growth rarely walks in through the front door. It sneaks in through detours, mistakes, and the long silences that make you question if you're even on the right track anymore. Most people see setbacks as signs they've been left behind. They think if something they've worked for didn't pan out, it must mean they missed their shot. You lose a job, the phone stops ringing, the relationship ends, and your mind screams that life has moved on without you. But step back from that panic for a second. What if those gaps aren't punishment? What if they're part of a natural pullback? A phase where the universe gathers its energy before redistributing it through you? Think about how breath works. You inhale, then pause. You exhale, then pause again. Each gap has purpose. When the tide recedes, it looks like retreat, but that same motion fuels the next wave. Life plays by that rhythm too. It pulls away just long enough to build the pressure needed to propel you forward. Your so-called losing season isn't a void. It's the inhale before your next surge. Take someone who gets passed over for a promotion they've been working toward for years. At first, they're crushed. Maybe they even question if they're meant for their field at all. But months later, the disappointment nudges them into mastering a skill they'd ignored. Something the job they thought they wanted would never have taught them. Then, out of nowhere, an even bigger opportunity opens up, one that fits them perfectly, not because of luck, but because that downtime forced a deeper level of readiness. The delay wasn't rejection, it was training in disguise. That's how the unseen system of balance operates. Every pullback deposits energy into storage. It doesn't vanish, it just waits for alignment. This is what you could call the input phase, when your experiences, emotions, even your mistakes get collected into potential. The law of spiritual equilibrium suggests that every loss, no matter how personal, demands an equal restoration somewhere down the line. That's not superstition. It's a reflection of the same balance that keeps nature, energy, and even emotion in motion. The trouble is, the human mind doesn't process that balance in real time. We feel endings as permanent. Pain compresses your perspective until the whole world seems smaller. You tell yourself, life is unfair because the return isn't immediate. But energy isn't bound by our sense of timing. It travels through seasons, not seconds. The pain you felt months ago was energy shifting out. What you're feeling now, the stirring, the small hints of resilience, that's it shifting back in. When you think about your hardest days, the moments where you truly thought it was over, notice how those same moments changed how you move, how you respond, how you see yourself. Maybe losing made you gentler, or being overlooked made you more focused. Those weren't accidental side effects. They were evidence the balance was still working. You didn't fall behind. You were being calibrated. You see, every struggle builds an account of potential waiting to mature into form. The universe doesn't forget deposits. That tired season of life, the constant questioning, the nights you talk yourself out of quitting, that was the system preparing a return on energy. The pullback was a resource transfer. It couldn't reward you yet, because the version of you who could handle the reward was still forming. Some people call this delay stagnation, but when something feels frozen, it usually means activity has moved underground. Trees aren't dead in winter, they're storing sap. Rivers look calm at the surface when they're deepening underneath. When your momentum slowed, nothing was broken. The motion just shifted inward. The confusion that came with it, that was alignment whispering at you to stay still until the next phase could unlock. Now you're standing at that edge where stored potential begins waiting to move again. Your situation might not have changed yet, but your energy has. And that's where the real trigger lies. Balance doesn't activate through outer circumstances. It activates through inner stability. When you stop resisting what left, you naturally invite what's on its way. The comeback never starts when life improves. It starts the moment you do. Resilience as alchemy, the hidden process, within the pause. Why do comebacks take so long to show up? Why does patience sting before peace finally settles in? That question alone has probably echoed in your head more than once. You push, you try, you wait, and nothing seems to move. But here's the truth. Most people never tell you. When everything looks still, it's not still. The pause is the process. It's where raw pain quietly turns into strength that actually lasts. You're not stuck. You're being refined. The mind doesn't like process. It wants confirmation. It wants evidence that something's working before it can relax. Yet the universe doesn't move with proof. It moves with recalibration. You can't rush a system that's trying to rebuild alignment. Think of how computers freeze right before they restart. That lag is actually the repair. Life does the same thing. It pauses you, not because you failed, but because something inside has to be rewritten before the next version runs smoothly. Resilience is the software update you didn't know was downloading. It isn't passive, and it's not about waiting helplessly for the world to notice you again. It's active reconstruction, the kind that happens deep inside when your world goes quiet. You're reformatting your perspective, cleaning out attachment to what used to define you. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Every time you choose hope instead of panic, faith instead of frustration, the system registers a new command. That's resilience in motion. Think about a forest after a fire. At first glance, it looks ruined. The ground is black, the air smells of smoke, and nothing seems alive. But underneath, the soil is busy transforming. Seeds that couldn't grow before suddenly find space. Nutrients redistribute. Within months, small sprouts appear, different, stronger, and more adaptable than what burned away. That's what happens inside you. The old version gets cleared out to make the next one possible. It's not instantly beautiful, but it's biologically richer. That's resilience working on a cellular level. During this rebuilding, faith becomes the stabilizer. It's the invisible part of the process that keeps your inner system balanced while the outer world looks uncertain. In the input-process-output pattern, this middle stage, the process, is where faith holds everything together. It's not blind belief. It's a grounded trust that even when nothing external validates your effort, something internal is rewiring. You might not feel stronger yet, but your capacity for strength is growing behind the curtain. Research in human behavior shows that trust, when practiced repeatedly, literally changes how the nervous system reacts. The body learns safety through consistency, and faith is emotional consistency. The more you choose to trust, the less your system panics during waiting periods. That shift is what allows you to spot opportunity later, because chaotic energy blocks awareness. Calm, even in confusion, makes you perceptive again. That's how people suddenly see open doors they once missed, because their system finally recognized them. There are small, quiet examples of this happening all around. Someone who always needed applause starts to find peace doing the work unseen. That's resilience forming self-validation. Another person stops demanding clarity before taking a step. They realize uncertainty isn't danger, it's direction waiting to be explored. Each micro shift builds capacity. You're learning how to hold yourself steady when proof is delayed, and that steadiness becomes the magnet for everything you thought you lost. So when you think nothing's happening, remember the hidden alchemy at play. Just because the output hasn't appeared doesn't mean the transformation stopped. What's actually happening is far more important. Your foundation is being tested for endurance. The comeback isn't built on momentum. It's built on stability that can hold momentum. You're not being punished by the pause. You're being prepared to sustain the energy that's about to return. The quiet season wasn't wasted time. It was the refining stage that ensures you don't collapse when the pace picks up again. The truth is, endurance isn't built through motion. It's built through stillness, handled with maturity. Every breath you've taken in uncertainty has stretched your capacity for the next level of abundance. So if it's been quiet, take that as a clue that your system is almost done processing. The files are about to finish transferring, and soon you'll feel that unmistakable click, the one that tells you the output phase has begun. The return of energy, recognizing the signs of your winning season. How do you know when the universe starts paying you back? It rarely sends a big announcement. There's no trumpet, no message in the sky. Instead, the flow reverses quietly. Little things fall into place. A conversation opens a door you didn't even know existed. You think of someone, and they text you within minutes. The same place that once felt heavy suddenly feels lighter, and you can't explain why. That's the first hint. Energy is moving again, and this time, it's moving with you. The output phase is what happens when all that stored potential you built through struggle begins turning itself into motion. It looks different for everyone because balance doesn't copy, it customizes. For some, it's new clarity, a sudden ability to see paths that used to feel foggy. For others, it's physical movement, people showing up, ideas catching traction, small wins stacking quietly. You might not recognize it at first because divine repayment doesn't flash like cash. It releases through alignment, moments where your energy, intention, and timing click back into sync. But here's where most people miss it. The signs of return don't look like rewards in the beginning. They appear as coincidences too small to measure, a new routine that feels strangely right, a door closing faster than before, saving you from wasting time. You start running into the right people, not the loudest ones. Even delays begin to make sense because they're no longer painful. They're precise. That's the universe shifting from correction to cooperation. It stopped taking and started building again, but quietly, because it trusts that you can now read the subtler cues. Balance shows itself in patterns, not prizes. Someone you thought was gone might resurface just long enough to offer closure. Something you struggled to express suddenly flows out naturally. The timing of things begins syncing with your effort instead of working against it. That's not luck, that's a frequency match. After any long season of withdrawal, energy returns exactly as much as it was invested, only reshaped to fit the person you are now. You'll know the tide has turned when the work starts to feel lighter again. Not easier, lighter. That's what I call energetic confirmation. It's when your actions begin to align with flow, not force. You catch yourself creating effortlessly, speaking truth without rehearsing, helping others without resentment. The same work that used to drain you suddenly refuels you. That shift means your system and the universe are back on speaking terms. You're not pushing alone anymore. You're being carried by the same current that once pulled away. Take the musician who nearly gave up after years of silence. Nothing they wrote worked. Every melody sounded stale. So they stopped trying to chase inspiration and started rebuilding their piece. Then, out of nowhere, songs began arriving again, stronger, clearer, and somehow more honest. What changed wasn't luck. Their inner frequency finally matched the rhythm of creation again. The effort became art, because balance had been restored. That's how energy pays you back, by making things smooth where they were once rough. The universe isn't in the business of rewarding egos. It restores order. If you grew through waiting, the return must match your new level of wisdom. The reward isn't what you get back. It's who you are when it returns. Because when a new season begins, it doesn't rebuild the old one, it expands it. You don't go back to the person you were before the setback. You move forward with upgraded strength, softened edges, and clearer purpose. Those are the assets that turn simple opportunities into long-term stability. Every loss you've endured contributed to that realism. Every delay shaped endurance that emotional victories couldn't teach. That's why your comeback doesn't start with confetti. It starts the moment you notice how calm you feel in situations that used to break you. That's not numbness. That's mastery. The part of you that used to chase is now aligned. You're already in your winning season. You've just begun recognizing it. When you refused to quit, even while nothing worked, you triggered the return long before results appeared. Success doesn't begin with applause. It starts in silence when you keep showing up. The win began the moment you held faith through confusion, when you kept steady long enough for the energy to flip back toward you. And now, all the separate threads, the clarity, the luck, the strength, are reconnecting exactly how they were meant to. None of this is coincidence. The balance that once withdrew from you has found its way home. Every loss you faced wasn't random. It was payment made in advance for something already assigned to your path. Life doesn't waste energy, it reallocates it. When things pause, try watching the pattern, not the pain. The system is always balancing itself, even when you can't see the scales move. Shift from reacting to observing, and trust that stillness is movement in disguise. You've already crossed the line between waiting and winning. This message didn't appear by chance. It arrived in rhythm with your energy. Your winning season isn't around the corner. It's standing quietly, right where you are.